Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into something I think we all do pretty much every day.
Walking.
Walking, exactly. And, you already know it's good for you, but we're going way beyond just like, you know, counting your steps today.
Right.
We want to figure out how to make those steps really count for something,
Well, absolutely.
for some real health benefits.
Yeah.
And we've got an article here with some pretty surprising new research.
Yeah. You've probably heard that advice to try and get those 10,000 steps a day, right? But what if I told you that the real secret to an effective walk
Oh,
isn't about going further or faster?
what?
What if it was actually about slowing down?
Hmm.
Maybe even stopping every once in a while.
Okay. I'm intrigued, but I'm also a little skeptical.
Yeah.
Stick with us on this one, folks. This new research really flips the script on what we thought we knew about walking.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that, let's start with the foundation here.
Sure.
Why is walking so beneficial in the first place?
Right.
This article does a good job of reminding us just how much good can come from literally just putting one foot in front of the other.
Think about it. Walking can help you live longer. It can sharpen your mind.
Really?
It might even spark your next brilliant idea.
No kidding.
Yeah. So there's this massive study from the
Yeah.
American Cancer Society.
Wow.
They looked at like 140,000 people,
Wow.
and they found that walking just 2 hours a week,
Okay.
which is basically like 15 minutes a day,
That's doable.
can significantly lower your risk of disease and increase your lifespan.
Wow. So it's not just about adding years to your life.
Exactly.
It's adding life to your years.
That's a great way to put it.
So it sounds like walking is like a fountain of youth for your brain.
You could say that.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
But why is walking so good for us? Is it just because, it gets our heart rate up?
Well, it is partly that, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
Our bodies are designed to move.
Yeah.
It's literally in our DNA. Our ancestors walked for survival.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they found food,
Right?
explored new territories,
Makes sense.
and well, stayed alive. So
Yeah.
we're kind of hardwired for it.
Okay, so we're hardwired to walk.
Mm-hmm.
The article also mentions a link between walking and creativity,
Yeah.
which I thought was really interesting.
Right. It's really fascinating, because walking can help your brain make new connections.
Okay.
Think about it, like you're stuck on a problem.
Right. Happens all the time.
You go for a walk,
Yeah.
and suddenly it's like, boom, you've got a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
That's because, the rhythmic motion of walking,
Yeah.
combined with, the visual stimulation of your surroundings,
Right.
can spark new ideas and help you overcome those mental blocks.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
like walking gives your brain space to wander, too.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know walking is great,
Mm-hmm.
but what about this whole,
Yeah.
stopping to smell the roses thing?
Right.
Where does that fit in?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Okay.
Okay.
There's a new study that was published in the Proceedings of the Royal Society B,
Okay.
and they're challenging some of our common assumptions about how to get the most out of our walks.
Okay.
They basically looked at what happens inside our bodies when we change up the pace of our walking.
Hmm.
And the article uses this car analogy to explain this. I thought it was really helpful.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so just like a car uses more fuel to accelerate,
Okay.
our bodies burn more energy when we're starting and stopping. So imagine you're on a walk and you pause to admire a view,
Okay.
or you have a quick chat with a neighbor.
Right.
Those little bursts of energy actually add up.
Oh, wow. So a walk with pauses and changes in pace
Yeah.
could actually be more effective than walking at a steady pace
Yes.
for the same amount of time.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and this is especially true for people who aren't marathon runners, because it takes their bodies longer to reach what's called a metabolic steady state,
Hmm.
which basically means it takes longer for their body to adjust to a new activity level and
Right.
start burning energy efficiently.
Okay.
So this stop and start approach can be even more effective for them.
Well, that's good news for people like me who are, maybe new to exercise or just prefer a more leisurely pace.
Exactly.
But before we all get our step counters and, just start taking leisurely strolls,
Yeah.
the article does mention a couple of important caveats.
Right. It's really important to remember that this research focused on healthy young adults.
Okay.
So if you have any health concerns,
Mhm.
it's always best to check with your doctor
Right.
before you make any big changes to your walking routine.
Of course.
And also, this isn't, about telling marathon runners to slow down.
Right.
If you're already crushing it, fitness-wise, adding pauses probably won't make a huge difference for you.
Right.
This is really about helping people find a more manageable and enjoyable way to get the most out of their daily walk.
Okay, so it's not about ditching intensity altogether.
Right.
It's about finding that rhythm that works for your body and your goals.
Exactly.
Okay, so then I'm curious, where did this whole like 10,000 steps a day thing come from in the first place?
You know, it's not as scientific as you might think.
Really?
Yeah, it actually started as a marketing campaign.
Wait, what?
Yeah, back in the 1960s,
Oh, wow.
a Japanese company released this pedometer,
Okay.
and they called it Manpokai,
Manpokai.
which translates to 10,000 steps meter.
Okay.
It was a catchy slogan.
Yeah.
It stuck, but there wasn't really any science behind it.
So it was all just a clever marketing ploy.
Pretty much.
Wow.
And while 10,000 steps, can be a good goal for some people,
Right.
it's not a magic number that applies to everyone.
Yeah.
Some people might need more. Some people might need less.
Right.
It all depends on your individual fitness level, and you know what you're aiming for.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that we shouldn't get so hung up on these arbitrary numbers and instead just focus on what feels right for our own bodies.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've debunked the 10,000 step myth,
Yeah.
and we've learned that pauses can actually make our walks more effective.
Right.
But how do we actually put all of this into practice?
Well, I think it's about being more intentional with your walks, Instead of just zoning out and counting steps,
Okay.
try tuning in to your surroundings and how your body feels.
Yeah.
Think of it like turning your walks into mindful moments.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So instead of, just power walking through my neighborhood with my head down,
Mm-hmm.
I should try to be more present and really take in, the sights and sounds around me.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what if you see a beautiful flower bed in full bloom?
Yeah,
Instead of just walking by, why not stop for a minute?
right.
Really take it all in, the colors, the fragrance, the intricate details.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's like turning my walk into a mini sensory experience.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a flower bed, right? Right. It could be a stunning view or a cool piece of architecture that you've never really noticed before. Right. Or even a friendly chat with a neighbor that you run into along the way.
Yeah.
These pauses, they break up the monotony.
Right.
They help you connect with your surroundings.
Yeah.
And they ultimately make your walk more enjoyable.
It's like we're rediscovering the beauty of our own neighborhoods,
Mm-hmm.
being tourists in our own backyards.
I love that.
Yeah, and those little moments of appreciation,
All right.
those pauses for reflection, they're not just good for our physical health, right?
Right.
They're good for our mental and emotional well-being, too.
Absolutely.
It helps us de-stress,
Yes.
connect with our surroundings, and just cultivate a sense of gratitude for the simple things in life.
Exactly.
So we're not just getting a workout.
Right.
We're also giving ourselves a mental break
Yeah.
and boosting our mood at the same time.
Yeah.
That sounds like a win-win to me.
Absolutely.
But what about those of us who really enjoy pushing ourselves physically?
Yeah.
The people who thrive on like hitting a certain distance or a certain pace.
Right.
Does this mean we have to give up that sense of accomplishment?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's not an either situation.
Okay.
It's about finding a balance that works for you.
Okay.
If you love a good challenge, keep doing those challenging walks.
Right.
But even the most dedicated athletes
Yeah.
benefit from building in periods of rest and recovery.
Right. So maybe we alternate between pushing ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and taking it easy.
Exactly.
Or maybe we just make sure to build in those mini pauses
Yeah.
throughout our walks just to catch our breath
Right.
and, appreciate what's around us.
Exactly. It's all about being intentional
Yeah.
and finding what feels right for you.
This whole conversation reminds me of that saying, like, stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
It's such a simple idea, but it's so powerful.
It really is. And it's not just about roses, right?
Right.
It's about being present in the moment and enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
And, this research confirms that those moments of pause aren't just enjoyable. They can actually make our walks more effective.
I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to choose between a challenging workout and a leisurely stroll.
Right.
You can have both.
Exactly.
And by incorporating those pauses, you might actually be boosting the benefits of your walk
yeah.
in ways you never imagined.
Right.
It's like we've been given permission to slow down and savor the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome. What fascinates me is how this research challenges that idea
Yeah.
that more is always better,
Right.
Sometimes slowing down and taking a break
Yeah.
can be the most effective way to achieve our goals.
Right.
Whether those goals are physical, mental, or even creative.
It's like we're rewiring our brains to embrace those moments of stillness and see them as valuable, not as wasted time.
Exactly.
Like that a lot.
Yeah. It's a powerful shift in perspective,
Right.
and I think it applies to so much more than just walking.
That's what I was thinking. We've been talking about physical walks.
Right.
But what about those moments in our day, when we're feeling mentally stuck or creatively drained?
Yeah.
Could those pauses, those like smelling the roses moments,
Yeah.
help us there too?
Yeah. Absolutely. Think about it. When you're overwhelmed or stressed, what's the first thing you're told to do?
Take a deep breath.
Exactly. Take a deep breath. Step away from the problem for a minute.
Yeah.
It's about giving your mind a chance to reset and recharge.
Okay.
Just like we do with our bodies, when we pause during a walk.
So even when we're not physically walking,
Right.
we can still benefit from those mindful pauses throughout the day.
Exactly. It's about finding those opportunities to disconnect from the constant stimulation and reconnect with ourselves. Even if it's just for a minute or two.
Okay.
Maybe it's taking a few minutes to savor your morning coffee without scrolling through your phone.
Right.
Or stepping outside for a quick breath of fresh air when you're feeling overwhelmed at work.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like we're weaving those mindful moments into the fabric of our day, no matter what we're doing.
Exactly. And those little moments can have a huge impact on our overall well-being.
Yeah.
They can help us reduce stress, boost our creativity, and simply feel more grounded and present in our lives.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life
Yeah.
and forget to appreciate the little things.
It really is.
This conversation has been a great reminder to just slow down, be present, and savor those moments of pause.
And who knows? Maybe those moments will lead to your next big breakthrough. A moment of inspiration, or simply a deeper appreciation for the beauty that surrounds you every day.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
Yes.
We've debunked the 10,000 step myth. We've discovered the power of pausing. And we've explored how those mindful moments can transform not just our walks, but our entire day.
And here's a final thought-provoking question for you and all our listeners to ponder.
Okay.
What small changes can you make to your daily routine to incorporate more of those smelling the roses moments?
Ooh, I like that.
How can you find those pauses, those moments of stillness and appreciation, even when you're not physically walking?
It's a great question to leave our listeners with.
Yeah.
We encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep walking your own path. With a few mindful pauses along the way, of course.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
It was my pleasure. Yeah, it really is a powerful shift in perspective. And I think, it applies to so much more than just walking.
That's exactly what I was thinking. We've been talking about physical walks.
Yeah.
But what about those moments in our day where we're feeling, mentally stuck or creatively drained? Could those pauses, those smelling the roses moments help us there too?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. When you're overwhelmed or stressed, what's the first thing people tell you to do?
Take a deep breath.
Exactly. Take a deep breath. Step away from the problem. Give yourself a minute.
Yeah.
It's about giving your mind a chance to reset and recharge, just like we do with our bodies when we pause during a walk.
So it's like, even when we're not physically walking,
Yeah.
we can still benefit from those, those mindful pauses
Exactly.
throughout the day.
It's about finding those little opportunities to disconnect from the constant stimulation, and reconnect with ourselves.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for a minute or two.
Right.
Like maybe it's taking a few minutes to just savor your morning coffee without scrolling through your phone.
Yeah.
Or stepping outside for a quick breath of fresh air when you're feeling overwhelmed at work.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like we're weaving those mindful moments into the fabric of our day, no matter what we're doing.
Exactly. And, those little moments can have a huge impact on our overall well-being.
Yeah.
They help reduce stress, they can boost our creativity, and just help us feel more grounded and present in our lives.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life
It really is.
and just completely forget to appreciate the little things. This conversation has been a good reminder to slow down, be present, and savor those moments of pause.
It really has been. And, who knows, maybe those moments will lead to your next big breakthrough.
Yeah.
A moment of inspiration, or simply a deeper appreciation for the beauty that's all around you.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Well, this has been such an insightful deep dive.
It really has.
We've debunked the 10,000-step myth.
Yeah, we did.
We've discovered the power of pausing, and we've explored how those mindful moments can transform not just our walks, but our entire day.
Exactly.
So as always, we want to leave our listeners with something to think about, something to ponder.
Yeah.
So what small changes can you make in your daily routine to, maybe incorporate more of those smelling the roses moments?
Right. How can you find those pauses, those moments of stillness and appreciation, even when you're not physically walking?
It's a great question, and we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep walking your own path.
Yes.
With a few mindful pauses along the way, of course.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And until next time, keep those steps mindful and those roses smelled.